Well, with the club's origins in 1905, there were only a small number of motor vehicles travelling around. There were 12 members that created the RACQ and the School of the Arts Hall. The first 20 years of the club's evolution, from 1905 through to 1925, it was all about helping those small number of motorists get a voice to government for better roads, a voice to government for improved signage. It wasn't until cars started to become a little bit more reliable and there were more of them on the roads that they started to move further afield, and you were 10 or 12 or 15 miles away from home, and that's if your car broke down. It was a long walk or a long pushback, which is why you needed an RACQ mechanic. And that's, I guess, where the evolution of RACQ's roadside assistance started.
Well, 1925 saw RACQ patrols on the road. Ever since then, RACQ has grown, and we've proceeded from motorcycle and sidecar to vehicles, and the patrol strength has increased, and it's continued on all the way through. All the way through, whilst I was a patrol, I started in 75. I think back then there was probably about 80 of us on the road. In 1925, the guys were doing basic mechanical work, and just a toolbox, out of gas, fuel can, flat tyres, tyre levers and bits and pieces. Those guys back then, when they attended a member, they had to salute the member. And you come up a little bit further now for the more modern guys, they went into lockouts. The tools were more hands-on tools, still doing out of gases, still doing flat tyres. Back in the 80s, we moved into batteries. We were able to supply a battery to our members. The early days, we'd call a vehicle to come and fit a battery for us. That was RACQ battery service. Now the patrols actually carry batteries in their vehicles. Today, we've progressed right up to scan tools because of a modern motor vehicle, so you can plug in, work out what is actually wrong with the vehicle or have a suggestion what's wrong, and the patrol then can make up his mind whether he can fix it or whether he will have it towed.
Motor vehicles don't join RACQ, members do, they're people. So, whilst we're an automobile club, it's the people and the members that really matter. The value of the patrols and our tow truck operators and the people that take the calls in the call centre, it's really that human interaction, and that's what makes a good member of the RACQ team. That it's actually not about the car. They're calling us because they have an automotive related problem, but it's the human that calls us and it's the human that goes out. It's the patrolman that turns up, it's the recovery officer that turns up that helps them, and that's what makes a good member of our team. Someone that, yes, has the right skills to be able to undertake the job, but also has a really good rapport and is able to make that bad day for a member turn into a good day.
The Assistance Contact Centre has evolved in many ways over the years, going from completely manual systems where consultants or telephonists at the time used to write all the jobs down on a job card, and then those job cards would go on a conveyor belt, and the conveyor belt would take the job on the card to the dispatcher, and the dispatcher would then radio the calls out. Now we've got great telephony systems that automate IVRs and routing of particular members and their needs, and we've got computer-aided dispatch where the call just goes straight into a job format in the system. I've got GPS mapping, no need to use Refidexes or UBDs anymore, and goes straight to the patrol in the vehicle on the road. In the 1980s, computer-aided dispatch was implemented into our call centre and our roadside patrol network. The impact of that was extraordinary. The introduction means now that there are less phone calls, there's more efficiency in terms of contractors and patrols getting the jobs a lot quicker and can respond to our members' needs much quicker. 24/7 came about as the growth in membership. So population boom at the time, the growth in membership, meeting the needs of the members. As we do every day today, we find new ways to meet the needs of our members, and our members are travelling around more often. That's where 24/7 came in. Advancements in technology like GPS and tracking and mobile apps has had a significant impact. Efficiency obviously is one of the great things, but it's also about being able to meet the member expectations. So more and more, every year we're seeing some organic growth in members actually using our digital offerings. If we didn't have those channels, members would be looking elsewhere for them, because today people don't always want to talk to a person. 100-year milestone is incredible, and I think to RACQ and its members, it means a loyal brand. We've been around for a very long time, we're reliable, and we deliver a great service.
External providers were essential to providing roadside statewide. particularly with the length and breadth of this enormous state, it's simply not possible for us to do it with employed patrols. That's where the contractor network became vitally important, and still is today, that in each and every town there is an RACQ contractor, and they become the RACQ in that town. We wouldn't be the RACQ without our external service provider network. They do 85% of our roadside jobs statewide. That's how critical and important they are to providing member service 24/7.
RACQ and their CSPs, as they once were known, or now as external service providers, ESPs, encompass all facets of business. So the patrol can be the same guy as the tow truck, who also is the same guy that fixes the member's car on the side of the road or in the workshop to try and keep them going along their way. As the state has grown, the requirement for members to be serviced far and wide, and we've had to reach out to people and build those relationships and partnerships with people right across the state. Even in my current role, as I head out with my team, working on the road and to see our service providers across the state, there's no 2 days the same, and I think that's what gives us the variety and the enjoyment of working at RACQ and Assistance. 100 years of RACQ providing roadside assistance to its members. The towing service has evolved and cars have evolved as well. We've needed to change the way that we do things. We used to hook things on the back of Bedford or a Chev or an International, and it would have a crane on the back where the tow truck would back up in front like it does today, and then the operator would have to sometimes hand winch that vehicle up into a sling before putting the member in the front, and maybe even in the back, depending on how many occupants of the vehicle that there were, to help recover the member and the occupants of the vehicle to a safe location. Things progressed, and I think it was late in the 1980s the first time that we initiated an all-up lift on our tow trucks, and now we've got the tilt slide fleet, and we're looking at ways how do we do that differently, of extracting cars out of car parks to assist our members when they break down. But obviously vehicles have evolved over the last 100 years, and on the side of the road, from horse and cart through to, Falcons and Commodores, and the most common car today doesn't include a Falcon or a Commodore. So as society has evolved and changed, we've also had to move with that pace.
History tells us that in 1925, when Roadside started, it was 2 patrol officers on motorbikes with spanners and hammers and those kind of things. Well, nowadays, electrical faults and problems with the computer systems and codes represent an even bigger problem, given vehicles are inherently mechanically reliable. The next 100 years is full of opportunity, particularly around the evolution of the car and the evolution of battery vehicles, and we're going to be at the forefront of that for the next 100 years, I'm very, very certain.
We're very proud of our 100 years that we've done to date. And now moving forward, I think everything revolves around the member and our communities we work in as well. So as those members and communities need to change their needs, RACQ is here to adapt, just like we have over the last 100 years. RACQ has actually expanded our services. We've actually adapted to be able to service EV vehicles, which means we've had to have more safe ways of working because they're electric, and also as vehicles have become longer and heavy as well, we've had to have new equipment which can actually carry those. RACQ's auto stores essentially came around through a realisation that we're doing a great job on the side of the road getting our members either moving through a new battery or a jump start or changing a tyre. But there's also a large portion of our members, when they're broken down, what's next? Just getting them on a tow truck and sending them off to a service centre doesn't actually fix their problem. So what we want to try and do is give them an option to be able to come into an RACQ-owned centre to get their vehicle fixed. We really are a service to our members and the community as a whole.
In talking to the people that were custodians of this club before me, and they talked to the people that were custodians before them, I'm proud of the fact that the people that represent this brand today have those same personal attributes. So I'd like to think that a 25 or 30-year-old mechanic that's joining as a patrol officer, that again an individual that's joining driving one of our recovery trucks, someone that comes out of school that starts taking phone calls and starts talking to members on the roadside, they all get a sense of the heritage of the organisation, and they get that sense of they're part of something that's much bigger than them. And it's almost like that relay race, that whilst we're carrying the baton of members now in 2025, that we're carrying it for staff members that have carried it for a century before, and that the next people we put that marker across to, they'll also keep that spirit of the organisation. And to me, that's what makes RACQ different. We're a good organisation, we have good people working for the organisation, and we turn up each and every day, 24 hours a day across the state, whether you work for the club or you're a contractor for the club, but you continue to keep that spirit and ethos of a long-serving organisation. It's why the 100-year anniversary is so important. because it goes to the heritage and history and hopefully goes to the heart of the organisation.